Hi, my name's Linda OJ.
And my name's Aaron Espindola.
Welcome to another episode of the Next Gen Business Podcast.
Let's go.
The Next Gen Business Podcast is produced by the Small Business Community Network. Visit them online at www.sbcncanada.org.
Well, hello again, Aaron. Have you been having a good week doing all those exams at college?
Yeah, it's been a little bit tough, but I'm working through it, so it's going.
Well, like I said, I'm sure you'll do a great job. You've been studying like crazy, haven't you?
Yeah.
We have to set a good impression here. So I've had one of those days where your head's so full of appointments and dates and people not emailing me back. And I think we talked about this a few weeks ago where basically, time management and my time's managed well, but other people's isn't. So after this, I'm going to have a nice drink of Prosecco. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about volunteering because I know college students, entrepreneurs, it's a really good idea to volunteer time for many reasons. But have you in particular got any examples if you volunteered your time and why?
Yeah, so I haven't done like the full volunteering thing per se, too official. So mostly it's helping out my friends running their like businesses or stuff like that. I just kind of like help them out. So I guess that would count for volunteering. And then I also like to attend business type of events, which isn't really volunteering. That's more networking. But I guess this would be my first time volunteering where I'm doing this stuff with you guys in the Small Business Community Network, which I'm having a lot of fun doing. And I think a lot of people that are looking at volunteering, it's really great to look at your community and see what kind of opportunities you have.
Yeah, and you started off as a volunteer, but now you're my co-host. It's amazing. So many people are saying to me, Erin is so good. He's got some really great tips, and I kind of follow along with you because you really know a lot about the generation that we're reaching out to. And it's great to have you for a co-host. Thank you. Sorry we can't pay you $1 million. I'm going to tell you a funny story. So when I started my first business motivational steps many years ago, 20 years ago, I knew the benefit of volunteering my time because to get my name out there and to get to know local people, there wasn't many opportunities out there. Most people wanted me to buy something or, basically, just buy something, and I didn't have any money to buy anything, so I couldn't really volunteer much. And at my school in England many years ago, we didn't have to volunteer like you do at high school now. I believe that's still going. So along the way, I became rich and famous and the social sweetheart, and I thought I'd help on this committee. So they loved to have me. And then I realised that I was a different kind of volunteer than most people, including some of the people on this committee, because it was like they'd meet every 2 weeks, we'd have some pizza and some pop, chat a lot, and there was like a template for this event. I'm not going to say what the event was, but there wasn't really any work involved. They'd done it the same for a very long time. But I thought to myself, I wouldn't mind doing something a bit different for this event. And they said, that's a good idea. And I go, is anybody able to help me? No, we're all busy with what we do. And so I pulled in my daughter, and eventually I pulled in my husband. They're great, and I fulfilled the task. When they realised the hard work we'd done as volunteers, obviously my 2 helpers were unofficial, they were kind of a bit jealous because I'd done a good job. And my daughter says, maybe you've made them look bad. But I was really annoyed because what they didn't invite me back the next year, but they didn't tell me. They thought I'd just disappear. I know. It learned me a big lesson. So I said, well, why don't you want me back? And they go, oh, we don't need any more volunteers. And it was very, very hurtful, but I wasn't trying to take over anything, but I learned my lesson that when we volunteer, obviously it's for the best reason. You're interested in the cause you're volunteering for or whatever, or maybe, find out up front if they prefer to stay stagnant and not move on and make changes, so you don't get fired like I got fired and I wasn't paid for all this hard work. And that's what I think is a funny story. I've learnt my lesson now. If I'm going to volunteer for anything, I want to know we're on the same wavelength, and it is about moving forward and not staying stagnant. But in your case, I guess, with your clothing business, with your, what is it called? Booty, what do you call it?
Oh yeah. So yeah, my clothing brand's called Booty Beach. It's a beach and lifestyle brand. We chose the name just because we wanted to stand out in the marketplace, and it was a niche market where there's not a lot of clothing being like lifestyle type of clothing being made for the beach wear, especially for men and women. So I know for myself, I was looking to get swimwear. I just went to the stores and I'd be like, oh, you know what? Like, I like that swimwear, but I'm usually someone that loves brands. But there was not really a brand out there that I'm like, oh, this is like, it's a swimwear, but it's more like basketball, or it's more like Adidas and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if I could do a brand focusing only around like the beach lifestyle type of atmosphere, just because I always went to the beach and I love to do that. And I just thought the name sounded catchy together. So I'm like, it'd be perfect.
Let's imagine you've graduated from college and you're going to really pursue that business. You may want to volunteer your time with other businesses. It could be in any capacity, because it's about being memorable, recognised, and getting to know you. And a lot of people do that now with either of my businesses, and they do it for all the right reasons, but then I get to know them and I get to like them like I do you, and then I refer them to other people, or I help them, with the business needs. So again, volunteering for the right reason. But is it still at high school over here where kids have to volunteer for a cause and then they get marks for it, or did they stop that a long time ago?
No, so when I was finishing my high school a couple years back, it was still required part of your graduation. You had to do, I think it was 40 hours of volunteer. I did it with my soccer coach and all that. So we would go to the younger league, or the younger kids, and then just help them, train them, and do that, because I really liked soccer growing up, and I had a lot of fun going out to the soccer fields and kicking the ball around, and I thought it was perfect. I wish I would have kind of volunteered somewhere where I didn't have a skill already, just so that I can maybe develop that but network outside of like the networking circle that I already had. So yeah, I think it's important to kind of network outside of your social circle, and maybe in a field that you don't have the skills already developed, just because then you're going to be able to network, which is really important. And if you stay within the same skill set and you stay with the same social circle, then you're not, like, you are volunteering, but you're not reaping all the benefits of volunteering. So I think that's really important to do. And I actually made a little list of like different type of things to ask yourself before you're actually going to volunteer. And I just found this by like searching online, but I thought it'd be really beneficial. I thought it'd be really beneficial for everyone, all the listeners out there, to kind of ask yourself these questions before you volunteer, just so that so you know what you're getting yourself into. So the first one is kind of like, what are your interests? So it could be something that you're interested in now, or maybe something that you're gonna like, you see yourself being interested in that, and kind of looking for volunteer opportunities in that field. What are your skills? So that's determining what skills you have, what you can bring to the tables when you do volunteer, and then maybe when you talk to the volunteer or the organization that you're going to volunteer with, maybe you could talk to them and be like, hey, these are the type of skills I bring to the table, and then I would also maybe be interested in expanding other type of skills that they might have available, and they'll be able to put you in a position where you can kind of build on those skills. Another one would be, what do I do? What do I most want to learn from this experience? And that kind of ties into like what kind of skills you bring, but what kind of skills you want to develop. And then what will I gain from this work experience? I know sometimes you might be short-sighted, whereas sometimes the benefits of volunteer are going to be long-term. So you're not going to see them immediately, but maybe a year or two into volunteering, you're going to build those networks. And then when you're looking for a job, you might have a connection that holds a big, like a higher position in that field. and then you could use them as a reference or stuff like that. And then another really important one that a lot of people kind of overlook is, will my volunteering affect my other commitments? So making sure that you have a healthy balance of volunteering, that you can put in a lot of effort into it, and then still maintaining whatever you're doing at the time. So if that's school, that you're not going to be kind of lowering your grades or anything like that. If you're working, that you got to make sure that you have enough time available to volunteer. And that kind of ties into the next one, is like how flexible you are. You have to be upfront with the person that you're going to be volunteering with, just so that they are on the same page as you, and that you guys kind of know what to expect from each other. And then I would say, I guess that ties into how much time do I have. So that's kind of, it is with flexibility, but it's also kind of determining a schedule and how much, if you can volunteer 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, or maybe once a week, and just as long as you put that out on the table, I'd recommend to do that. And then you kind of have to determine, in your case where you were telling us a story of, you should be upfront with people and be like, hey, am I looking for like a long-term assignment or a short-term assignment, just so that you're not stepping on anyone's toes, or get it. Yeah, pretty much those are the things I'd kind of recommend when you're looking to volunteer.
That is fantastic. It really is. You've got it spot on. It's really good advice for our audience. I did actually do a lot of volunteering for the Waterloo Region Business Partnership, and even you could do this, Aaron. Basically, they're looking for people with experience in business, and you're an entrepreneur, you're running a business. And in my case, as a motivational speaker, I would go into the schools and volunteer my time to talk about how I became a motivational speaker, and to put the minds at rest that no, I wasn't a millionaire. It was hard work. I did more than just stand there and talk. But the one I loved was the Skills Canada at Conestoga. Have you heard of that one?
No, unfortunately, I haven't heard of that one.
It's amazing. So basically, say somebody wants to be an electrician or a plumber or something like that, something physical. So myself and other judges would go along and they'd do this thing in front of us. They'd show us how to build, I don't know, a toilet or some plumbing thing, amazing. And then as judges, we had to work out how well they did and mark them. And then they went on to an even bigger competition as a kind of volunteer, and I did. And as I say, once you've graduated college and you're out in the real world, I think it'd be good for you again, because I met loads of connections there. Didn't get any business leads out of it, but that was not what I was looking for. But it's been about being memorable, but also giving back to the community. So I guess for the audience out there, you've made some good points, and I've made some points about basically know why you're going to do it. Have the right reason for doing it. If you are a business owner like me, don't think you're always going to get a lot of work out of it, because that's not the only reason you should do it. Volunteering isn't paid work. I guess one of my sons volunteered at Habitat, where they build houses, for families. And then when he went on to work himself, he became a mentor to other young people who wanted to volunteer their time. And it really gives them the experience of dealing with other people and knowing how to build a house. I mean, they didn't do it on their own, obviously. So what should we leave our audience with tonight, Aaron? Some words of wisdom from you.
I saw a cool fact, which is I want to share. So half of the people that do volunteer, they end up saying that it helped with their depression. And the other half say that it actually made it worse. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding about that last part.
You are so mean.
But it did help. It did help motivate them. And a lot of the facts that I saw online is that volunteering is not only to help other people, but it's to help yourself as well. And you're going to be a better person because of it. At least that's what the studies say.
I was a bit depressed when I got fired from my first volunteer committee. And the other thing is, I think the high school students weren't doing it for the right reasons. They were doing it because they had to. And if it's still carrying on, I've never really agreed with it, So you've hit the nail on the head. You've given us some fantastic pointers again. And I've got to ask you, are you going to enjoy St. Paddy's Day tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day, after you finish your assignments? You're going to stay in the house and have a drink of Guinness, I bet.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the house. drink of Guinness, and then probably just work on my assignments, but nothing too crazy because of COVID.
Well, we've got a networking event, and it is all about St. Paddy's and networking. So I'm going to wear a St. Patrick's little hat, and so is Dave, and we're going to have a little drinkies while we're all online. So it should be a fun night. Thank you again for being such an inspiration to me, because it's rare, seriously, it's rare for someone, today who's at college to have the time to do this kind of thing. So you do the research, you're fantastic, with our audience. So thank you again, Aaron. I love having you as a co-host, and we'll be okay, I see where we're coming from now. But we'll be back next week with another podcast. So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me as well.
Thanks for listening. Check us out at www.nextgenbusinesspodcast.com.